Have you ever driven down an empty road at night and felt like something was watching you from the darkness? Tonight, I'll share the most terrifying road experience of my life. A night that still keeps me awake because I'm not sure if I escaped or if something followed me home. It started as a normal drive. My best friend Daniel and I were heading back from a late visit to a friend's house. The highway stretched ahead of us, endless and empty, swallowed in darkness. No cars, no street lights, just the two of us, the low hum of the engine, and the beam of our headlights cutting through the night. Daniel leaned back in the passenger seat, yawning. Man, I hate this road. Too quiet. Creeps me out. I force a laugh, gripping the wheel tighter. Yeah, well, at least we'll be home in a couple hours. Just don't fall asleep on me, all right? But inside, I agreed with him. The silence was unnatural, like the world itself had stopped. Every shadow seemed to stretch too far, and the trees swayed without a breeze. A few miles later, Daniel frowned and leaned forward. Hey, didn't we pass that broken sign before? I squinted. Ahead on the right side of the road stood a rusted road sign, bent at an angle, its words faded and illegible. A strip of white paint slashed across it, like claws had torn through the metal. Yeah, I think so, I said slowly, but maybe there are a couple of them. It's just a coincidence. Daniel didn't answer. He just stared at the sign as it slid past us. 5 minutes later, another appeared. The same sign. Bent, rusted, clawed. Daniel let out a shaky laugh. Tell me I'm not crazy. My throat tightened. No, I saw it too. The silence grew heavier, pressing on us like a weight. Then the radio crackled to life. We both jumped as static filled the car, the dial glowing even though I hadn't turned it on. A distorted voice bled through the static, low and drawn out. Daniel. The sound of my friend's name whispered through the speakers. Daniel's head whipped toward me. His eyes were wide, terrified. Did you hear that? My mouth went dry. It said your name. The static hissed again, then the voice repeated, clearer this time. Daniel, don't look. We both froze. Neither of us breathed. Then, as if obeying the command, Daniel's eyes darted to the passenger side window. His face went pale. What is it? I whispered. He didn't answer. His hand just lifted slowly, pointing. I turned my head. On the side of the road stood a figure. At first, I thought it was a man. Tall, thin, with a crooked posture. But as my headlights hit it, my stomach flipped. Its skin was deathly pale, its face wrong. Smooth and featureless, like clay that had never been molded. It tilted its head to one side, impossibly far, until the neck bent with a sickening crack. Daniel swore under his breath. Don't slow down. Just don't slow down. I pressed my foot on the gas. The figure slid past us, vanishing into the dark. But a few minutes later, it was back, standing on the roadside ahead of us. Same tilt of the head, same faceless skin. Waiting. Daniel gripped my arm so tight it hurt. It's the same one. It's the same. I cut him off. Shut up. Don't look at it. Don't. We blew past it again. My chest ached with every heartbeat. My vision tunneling on the black road ahead. But no matter how far we drove, it kept returning. Always ahead of us. Always waiting. By the fourth time, Daniel snapped. He slammed his fist against the dashboard. This isn't real. It can't be real. But then the headlights flickered and died. The world vanished into absolute blackness. We screamed at the same time. I slammed the brakes, but the car didn't stop. It kept rolling forward. The sound of gravel crunching under the tires filled the silence. And then footsteps, right outside Daniel's window. Slow, heavy, crunch, crunch, crunch. I whispered, my voice trembling, "Don't look." But Daniel turned anyway. His scream ripped through the car. I couldn't stop myself. I glanced too. Pressed against his window was a faceless figure. Its head tilted so close that the glass groaned under the pressure. Its skin rippled as if something moved beneath it, like worms crawling under flesh. Where its mouth should have been, the skin split, tearing open into a jagged, bleeding grin. Blood smeared across the glass as it dragged its head, leaving a trail. Daniel thrashed in his seat. "Go! Go!" The engine roared to life again, headlights blasting on their own. I floored the accelerator. The figure vanished into the blackness. But my hands weren't holding a steering wheel anymore. The leather had turned slick, sticky. When I looked down, my stomach lurched. Blood, thick, dark blood coated the wheel, dripping onto my jeans. The wheel pulsed under my grip, veins bulging, twitching like a living organ. Daniel gagged, clutching his chest. The car, it's not the car anymore, it's... Before he could finish, the radio screeched again. He saw it, now he's ours. The lights flickered, and just for a moment, Daniel's reflection in the passenger side window wasn't his own. It was grinning. The blood dripping from the steering wheel made my stomach churn. My knuckles slipped on the slick, pulsing surface as I tried to keep the car steady. The headlights flickered again, then dimmed to a sickly red glow that barely cut through the dark. Daniel pressed himself against the door, shaking his head violently. "This isn't happening, man. This is an F***ing happening." I swallowed hard, my throat raw. "Shut up. Don't panic. Just look straight ahead. We'll get through this." But even as I said it, I knew it was a lie. The road ahead was warping. The yellow divider lines weren't painted anymore. They were bleeding, running down the asphalt like veins. The pavement itself cracked and heaved, twisting like it was alive. The car rattled violently, bouncing on the uneven surface. But no matter how fast I drove, the end of the road never came. Daniel suddenly gasped, clutching my arm. "Look." I followed his gaze and my chest tightened. Hanging from the trees that lined the road were bodies. Dozens of them. Men, women, children, swinging like puppets from invisible strings. Their faces were pale, their eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Some were missing limbs. Others bled from gaping holes in their stomachs. As we passed, their heads turned in unison to follow us, their mouths opening wide. Daniel whimpered, covering his face. "Don't look, don't look, don't look." But I couldn't tear my eyes away. The corpses didn't scream. They laughed, a low, wet, gurgling laughter that grew louder with every mile, filling the air, echoing inside the car until it felt like my skull would crack. "Turn it off," Daniel shouted, clawing at the radio, but the laughter wasn't coming from the speakers. It was all around us. Then the bodies began to bleed. Rivers of blood poured from their eyes, noses, mouths, streaming down their necks and dripping onto the road. The car's tires splashed through it, sending sprays of red across the windshield. I tried the wipers, but instead of clearing the glass, the blade smeared the blood into grotesque shapes. Faces, eyes, symbols I didn't recognize. They pulsed like they were alive, writhing on the glass. Daniel groaned, holding his head. It's inside my head." I turned toward him and froze. His reflection in the side window didn't match his movements. while the real Daniel had his hands over his face, rocking back and forth. The reflection stared straight at me, grinning ear to ear. Its teeth were jagged, its gums blackened, blood dripping from the corners of its mouth. The reflection mouthed words I couldn't hear. I leaned closer, straining to read its lips. "He's not your friend." My chest tightened. I whipped my head toward the real Daniel, who was trembling, mumbling under his breath. His eyes darted up, catching mine. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" I stammered. "The window, it's not." Before I could finish, the reflection in the glass pressed its hand against the window. A handprint bloomed there on the inside. Daniel screamed and shoved himself toward me, hitting the wheel. The car swerved violently, tires screeching against the bloody asphalt. I fought to keep control, heart hammering as we nearly flipped. When the car straightened, the reflection was gone. But Daniel's skin wasn't right anymore. Veins bulged under his flesh, black and throbbing. His eyes were too wide, too bloodshot. He grabbed my shoulder, nails digging into me. "It's inside me," he whispered hoarsely. "I can feel it crawling under my skin." I pulled away, horrified. No, stay with me. You're fine. You're fine." He shook his head violently. "No, I'm not. I saw it. I saw it crawling across the road, and then I felt it like it climbed into me." Before I could answer, he started convulsing, his back arched, his mouth stretching open in a silent scream. His skin rippled, bulges forming under the surface as if something was moving inside him. "Daniel!" I screamed, reaching for him. He gagged, blood spilling from his lips. With a sickening crack, his jaw split wider than humanly possible, skin tearing down the sides of his mouth. His eyes rolled back, black veins spreading across his face. And then he whispered, but it wasn't his voice anymore. "You should never have come here." The radio blared to life, shrieking static. The voice returned. "One of you will stay. The other will drive forever." I slammed the brakes, my chest heaving. No, I'm not doing this." The car skidded, tires screaming against the road. We came to a halt. Daniel slumped in his seat, twitching, his chest heaving. Blood dripped from his mouth, but his eyes were open, too wide, too dark. He stared at me, expression blank. For a moment, there was silence. Then he smiled. Not Daniel's smile. Something else. "You should have left me on the roadside," he said, his voice distorted, layered with whispers. My stomach dropped. "You're not him." The thing wearing Daniel's face tilted its head, grinning wider. "Not anymore." And then, outside the car, dozens of footsteps surrounded us. I looked through the windshield. Figures, everywhere, standing in the blood-soaked road. Faceless, pale, tilting their heads in unison. All waiting, all staring. The figures outside didn't move. They just stood in the bloody road, their eyeless faces turned toward us. Dozens of them, maybe hundreds. Their bodies twitched unnaturally, heads tilting at the same angle Daniel's had earlier. My breath fogged the windshield as I whispered, "Don't look at them, don't." Daniel chuckled beside me, a low, broken sound that didn't belong to him. "Too late," he rasped. "They've already seen us." I turned, my heart pounding. His grin was wider now, stretching his torn mouth. His skin crawled with movement beneath the surface, like dozens of insects writhing under his flesh. Blood trickled from his eyes, streaking down his cheeks in thin black rivers. "Daniel," I pleaded, "fight it. Whatever this is, don't let it take you." He laughed harder, his body twitching violently. "You don't get it. I didn't let it in. It chose me. I gripped the wheel with trembling hands. You're lying. You're still in there. You're still my friend. His head snapped toward me so fast his neck cracked. His eyes rolled white, and his voice came out layered with dozens of others. Friendship doesn't exist here, only hunger. The figures outside began to move. Slowly, their bodies lurched forward, one step at a time, their heads twisted at impossible angles, bones cracking with every jerk. The sound of hundreds of bare feet slapping against the bloody pavement filled the air. Daniel pressed his face against the passenger window, fogging the glass with his breath. They're coming for you. They don't want me anymore. They want the one still fighting. I slammed the accelerator. The tires spun in the blood, spraying red behind us before finally gripping the road. The car shot forward, plowing straight into the crowd of faceless figures. The impact should have sent them flying, but instead they burst. Each one exploded into a spray of thick black blood and broken bones, splattering across the windshield. The wipers smeared the mess, but it didn't clear. It only grew, covering the glass until I could barely see. Daniel licked his lips, grinning. Taste it. You know you want to. The stench of rot filled the car. I gagged, coughing, but I didn't stop driving. My eyes darted to the side mirror, and my stomach dropped. The road behind us was gone. There was no asphalt, no trees, only an endless void. And crawling up from the void were more of them, thousands. Their bodies dragged across the nothingness, clawing at each other, shrieking soundlessly as they pulled themselves closer. I swerved my gaze back to the road ahead and screamed. A woman stood directly in front of the car. Her body was broken, limbs bent backwards, neck twisted. She was covered in blood, her white dress soaked through. Her face, oh God, her face, was nothing but a torn mess of flesh, teeth, and blackened gums. Her arms stretched wide, and the moment we hit her, she didn't fall. She clung to the hood, her head jerking up to stare at us through the cracked glass. Daniel clapped his hands like a child. She likes you. Let her in. The woman slammed her head against the windshield. Once, twice, the glass spiderweb with cracks. Each hit stronger than the last. Blood smeared across the fractures, dripping inside. Stop. I screamed. Daniel leaned close, whispering in my ear. If you stop, she'll crawl inside. If you keep driving, she'll bring her friends. The windshield shattered. Her head pushed through, glass slicing her skin, but she didn't bleed red. Black ichor poured from her wounds, hissing as it hit the dashboard. Her jaw unhinged, mouth stretching impossibly wide. Teeth jagged and broken, gums torn and rotting. I shoved Daniel aside and grabbed the tire iron from under the seat. With a scream, I slammed it into her face. Bone crunched. The woman shrieked, a sound so inhuman it rattled my bones. Her body melted off the hood like wax, leaving behind only the stench of burning flesh. But more were waiting. Ahead of us, the road was filled with figures. Hundreds, maybe thousands. Their bodies writhed, some crawling on all fours, others dragging themselves with broken arms. They filled the road from one side to the other, a sea of faceless nightmares. I slammed the brakes, skidding to a stop. My chest heaved as I realized there was no way forward, no way back. Daniel giggled beside me, his body twitching violently. His voice came out guttural, distorted. This is where the road ends. I turned to him, shaking my head violently. No, I'm not giving up. I'm getting us out of this. He leaned closer, his face inches from mine. His breath was rancid, his eyes black pits. "You don't get it," he whispered. "There is no way out. There never was. This road doesn't take you home. It takes you where you belong." Before I could answer, the figure surged forward, slamming into the car from every side. Hands clawed at the windows, leaving bloody smears. Faces pressed against the glass, their skin splitting open to reveal rows of jagged teeth. The car rocked violently, metal groaning under the weight of hundreds of bodies. Daniel leaned back in his seat, smiling as blood poured from his nose. "They've come for you, and I'll watch." The roof caved slightly as more climbed on top. The windshield cracked further. Hands slipped through the broken glass, grasping, tearing at my arms. Their fingers were ice cold, their nails slicing skin. Blood ran down my forearm as I screamed, beating at them with a tire iron, but there were too many. Daniel turned to me one last time, his face grotesque, his voice a chorus of whispers. "Choose. Stay with me or stay with them." And then everything went black. The darkness swallowed me whole. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no sight, not even the feeling of the steering wheel in my hands. I thought maybe I was dead. Maybe it was over. But then the whispers began. 1,000 voices speaking at once. Male, female, child, old, layered, overlapping, muttering words I couldn't understand. They circled me, echoing inside my skull until I thought my head would split open. "Daniel," I shouted into the void. My voice cracked, swallowed immediately by the endless whispers. "Where are you?" Laughter answered me. It came from behind. I turned, and there he was, Daniel, standing in the dark, or what was left of him. His body was broken, twisted, his arms far too long, fingers sharpening the claws that scraped against the unseen floor. His eyes glowed white in the abyss, his smile stretching ear to ear. "You shouldn't have called me," he whispered. His voice was not his own anymore, it was theirs. I stumbled back, my heart pounding so hard I thought it would explode. "Daniel, please, don't let them." He tilted his head, bones snapping. "He's not here anymore. Only me." As he stepped closer, the darkness behind him shifted. Something moved. Shapes, dozens, no, hundreds, emerging from the void. Faceless things, crawling, dragging, pulling themselves forward. Their bodies were made of blood and shadow, dripping black ichor that sizzled when it touched the ground. I backed away, my legs trembling. "Stay away from me." But the whispers grew louder, their meaning suddenly clear. They weren't speaking in tongues anymore. They were chanting, "Join us, join us, join US." The figures swarmed around Daniel, caressing him, pulling at his flesh. His body melted under their touch, bones cracking, muscles tearing. He laughed through the agony, his voice rising until it was a shriek. And then he split apart, right in front of me. Daniel's body tore open, skin peeling away as something else crawled out of him. Something massive, with too many limbs. Its had a writhing mass of teeth and eyes. His screams didn't stop. They just blended into the monster's howl. I fell to my knees, clutching my head, sobbing. This can't be real, this can't. But it was. The road reappeared beneath me. I was kneeling on the cracked asphalt, but it was no longer the road I knew. It stretched endlessly in both directions, lined with dead trees whose branches hung with corpses. Their heads dangled low, eyes gouged out, mouths sewn shut with barbed wire. The sky was bleeding, literally bleeding. Thick streams of crimson dripping from black clouds, pattering against the road like rain. Each drop burned when it hit my skin, leaving blistering welts. I screamed and stumbled forward, desperate to move, desperate to escape. That's when I heard Daniel's voice again, right behind me. "You can't leave me." I spun, tire iron still gripped in my bloody hands. He was there, his human form again, or at least a mockery of it. His skin sagged, his eyes black voids, his smile stitched into his face with threads of shadow. He reached for me, his fingers dripping blood. "I won't let you." I swung the tire iron, smashing it into his face. Bone cracked, but he didn't fall. He only laughed, grabbing the iron and yanking it from my hands. His grip was ice cold, freezing my skin to the metal until it tore free with strips of flesh. "Do you feel it now?" he whispered. "The road. It's inside you. It's always been inside you." I stumbled back, clutching my bleeding hand, shaking my head violently. "No, I won't become like you. I'm getting out of here." The faceless figures closed in, forming a circle around me. Their whispers grew deafening, a storm of voices clawing at my mind. Daniel stepped into the circle, tilting his head like a predator. His smile stretched unnaturally wide. "There's only one way out," he said softly. I froze. "What way?" His grin widened. His voice dropped into a growl. "Die here or die there." Before I could react, the ground split open beneath me. A massive fissure tore through the road, glowing red with fire and shadows writhing inside. The corpses hanging from the trees swung violently, their mouths bursting open as they screamed in unison. Hands shot up from the fissure, clawing at my legs, pulling me down. I kicked, screamed, fought, but they dragged me closer, their nails slicing deep into my flesh. Blood poured down my legs, dripping into the pit. Daniel leaned over me, his face inches from mine. His breath reeked of decay. "You were never driving home," he whispered. "You were always driving here." And then he pushed me. I fell. The screams of the dead filled my ears as the void swallowed me whole. Faces rushed past me in the darkness, screaming, crying, grinning. The whispers became shrieks, and the last thing I saw before it all went black was Daniel, standing above the pit, smiling. If you ever find yourself driving alone at night and the road looks empty, remember my story. Don't take the shortcut. Don't listen to the whispers. And for God's sake, don't stop.